You may have heard people in the business world talk about the term tech stack. And a tech stack is really just the set of technologies or the set of software that are involved in accomplishing a certain task or project. And as direct sellers, we often talk about our tech stack and we chat with other direct sellers, people in our company or elsewhere, about what tools they use and love for their business. And in this video, I want to talk to you about how you can do a little audit of your tech stack so that you're making sure that you are adopting and enjoying all the right tools, that they are worthwhile for you, and that you're able to ditch the ones that aren't serving you. But first off, hi, my name is Julie Godshall. I've been with my company since 2016, and I am the original creator of the Direct Sales on Demand method, and more recently of Sparkhub, which is a tool that helps you to run all of your events with more connection and in less time. And so I've spent a lot of time trying out all the different tools. I'm always the early adopter of something. I'm always wanting to start the free trial and see what's out there for us as small solopreneurs. And I see people running into two different problems. On one extreme, I see people who just have way too many tools in the mix, more than they're actually using, and they're not using them to their full potential, not doing the training, and kind of just wasting money by having too many things in the mix, or just muddying the waters, even with too many free tools in the mix. But on the other extreme, I see people who are so hesitant to try out new tools that they end up wasting 10, 20 hours of their life trying to do something that they could pay $10 a month for a tool to do easily. Because guess what? Software is much better at certain things than we are. There are a lot of tasks that, require a lot of detail, or they need to be done quickly, or they need to be done consistently, and we can't always do that as reliably. I think it makes a lot of sense to outsource things to technology and not to be so afraid of spending another $10, $20 a month that we instead would rather spend 20 hours doing something. That math does not make sense. So our challenge is this: how can we have the right tools to support our work without taking on too many that end up wasting money? Now, here's my philosophy when it comes to the tools and software we use in our business. I believe that with the right attitude, tools, preparation, and support, you can reach more people without sacrificing your time or your happiness. You can reach more people without burnout if you outsource your grunt work to technology. You know what? Computer servers have no social life. They love grunt work. They just sit around all day waiting for you to give them something to do, and they do it in a tenth of a second, and they live for this. That's not the same thing with you. So we should hire technology to handle the boring stuff and the complex stuff and the time-sensitive stuff so that you can relax and instead do the fun part. So again, how can we make sure that's happening? How can we have tools that support our work that either save us time, give us more joy, or help us earn more money without taking on things that are not serving us in that way? So that is where our audit comes in. So I'm going to share with you a simple Google Sheet that you can use for this exercise. So it's totally free. I have a link below where you can sign up to get this freebie and perform your own little audit to clean up your own tech stack and make sure that you are filling in all the needs that you have in your business. Go ahead and grab the spreadsheet, and at the end, you're going to have a really great to-do list to understand, okay, what do I need to revisit the training on this tool to make sure I'm really actually using it and getting my value out of it? What are some tools that maybe it's time to give them the boot? What are some things that I need to research and add to my list? I want you to have absolute clarity on that so that you have a fresh start with the right tools for you. So I'm here in the spreadsheet, and when you open this, it's going to be just read only. You won't have edit access to my master copy, but all you need to do is go to File, Make a Copy, and then you can create your own copy of it to save in your own Google Drive. So here's how you can go through this. You can, first off, do a brain dump of the tools you use in your business and include them all. Include free tools as well. Just because something is free Doesn't mean that it deserves a place on this list, because as you go through, you might realize, that one's not really serving me, or it's redundant with this other tool, or I need to maybe upgrade to the paid version, whatever it may be. So go ahead and think through all the tools that you use. So tools like email, tools like if you use text marketing, any way that you are communicating with guests. Tools around social media. So what are the platforms you're on, or what tools do you use to schedule? Do you use something like Later to do your scheduling? Do you use something like Sent Share or Post My Party to plan your social media posts or to run your events on social media? Are the tools you use around tracking inventory or finances? Productivity tools, like if you use Trello or some sort of a task manager? Write it down, write all of them down. And Canva, most of us probably use Canva, either the free or the paid account, or any apps or tools you use around video editing, going live. Do you use Zoom for team meetings or for your parties? Write it down, write all these things down. What about scheduling tools? I use Calendly to schedule things. Do you have people book appointments with you using a scheduling tool? Write it down. So it's probably going to be a lot, and that's okay, because really the goal here is not to have less, but the goal is just to make sure that even if you're using a lot of tech tools, that they're the right ones and that they're serving you well, and that everything deserves a place where it is. We're kind of KonMariing here. If you're familiar with KonMari, the KonMari method, you want to keep things that spark joy. And so if it makes the cut, great. And you can have I have a lot of tools that I use. I have a long text, or a tall tech stack, I guess. But the things that are there with intention, and because they spark joy for me in my business. And so they deserve their place. And that's what we're trying to do here. And so once you've listed all those tools here in column A, we're going to go across with them. And so we're going to start out with a tool that I love so much that I built my own software to integrate with it. And that is Project Broadcast. And this is for texting, also landing pages. And they're building more functionality too, but those are the primary things I use it for now. The cost varies. I'm on the $15 a month plan. There's a free plan that does just landing pages. There's a $5 plan where you kind of pay as you go. But my plan is this one. And then let's think through the value and potential value. The reason I said value and potential value is this. Maybe you pay for Project Broadcast, but you're not actually using it. That doesn't mean you should ditch it. That means you should start using it, right? So we have to think through, like, what is the potential that this has to help me? Because we will see as we go through to a final conclusion on each item in your tech stack, we will come up with a plan of maybe realizing, well, this has potential value. I'm not getting that value, but that's not the tool's fault. That doesn't mean I can't use the tool. It just means I need to revisit how I'm doing this or upgrade my plan or whatever it may be. So thinking through the value. I think one pitfall that sometimes we fall into is only thinking about column D. Just only asking, does this help me earn more money? As if that's the only way that something can add value. That's one thing. And in fact, Project Broadcast does help me earn more money in my business. But even if it didn't, does it save me time? Maybe I don't earn more with Project Broadcast, but it's letting me text a bunch of people instead of having to do it individually. Like if I'm running an event and I want to text all of the guests and have kind of a plan of those texts, I could do that with Project Broadcast and not have to do manual texting. So it saves me time. Does it give me control over my time? Okay, this is a different one. I don't think we talk enough about this. In addition to saving time, another way a tool can add value is giving you control over your time. And here's what I mean. You could have a tool that doesn't actually help you take less time to do a task, but it helps you to schedule that task or batch that task. Project Broadcast is giving me more control over my time. Because if I'm doing work at 7 a.m., I'm not going to send someone a text at 7 a.m. but I could schedule a text using Project Broadcast. So it lets me decide when I'm going to work instead of having to be on the hook at a certain time to do things. So control over my time is another way something can add value. And then finally, does it bring me more joy? This column is so important. Even if none of the other ones are checked, if something brings you joy and it helps you just find more satisfaction in your business, you love using it, that is value. That is adding value to your life. And so I want you to really think broadly when it comes to the value. Don't just think about like bottom line. Can I actually trace a specific order to the fact that I use this tool? Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. It might not be that black and white. It might not be that clear. It might not even be true that it helped you earn more money, but there are other ways to have value. Because what is your time worth? What is your sanity worth? What is your joy worth? Because these columns kind of align with money, just actually revenue, your time, which is also worth money, your sanity of, just being able to have a calmer work life, and your joy. All of those things matter. They all have value. So thinking through the value is this whole section that we just did here. So you can see Project Broadcast checked all of those for me. And not every tool will check everything for you, and that's okay. It's just getting you thinking about how does this add value to me? Now, if none of these are checked, you're probably going to ditch that tool, but probably it's going to be 1 to 4 of them. Then let's think about other considerations. So this next section is other considerations, just to be kind of thinking through the value of the tool. Is it duplicatable for my team? So is this something where, other people who I work with, I can kind of show them what I've done. I can share templates, those kinds of things. Not 100% necessary, but it's just a consideration. Does it have good training templates and support? Absolutely. Is it designed for direct sales? Again, this isn't something required. Canva's not designed for direct sales, but I'm a huge fan of Canva. But when something is, I think it just shows that they really get you, and their training and their customer support really gets you and what your needs are. So I just think it's kind of another plus. And also, this comes back to kind of the cost analysis. Can I save money on it through a referral program? And so if it's a tool you love, you're going to share it with your friends, right? You might as well share it with your friends. And that might be a way for you to bring that cost down. And that changes your calculation a little bit, right? If you're able to spend a little less because you're saving. So I'm going to check that. And then finally, do I need this particular tool at this price point to accomplish this? Even if all of these were checked, but I had another tool in my toolkit that can do all that too, then I don't really need this tool. And so if this isn't checked, then that means maybe I could consolidate and simplify things a little. If there's another tool that can do multiple things and replace this for me. Although just keep in mind that maybe that other tool isn't as good at this one thing as this tool is. So it's just to get you thinking about that. In this case, yes. So this was maybe not the best example because I'm such a fan and it really checks all these boxes for me. But here's the thing. Once you come over here to a conclusion, you can choose one of these conclusions. For this one, I love it. You might decide it's one where, I'm not making more money with it, but I know that I could. Or it's not saving me time, but I know that I just need to sit down and spend a couple hours going through the training, and it's going to do that for me. So in that case, you would say, I'm going to recommit to it because it belongs in my tech stack, but only if I'm treating it with what it deserves, if I'm actually making use of it. Replace it would be if there's another tool that could do this better or that could do this, still give me as much value, but at maybe a lower price point. Do I need to downgrade it? Have I concluded, I love this tool, but I think I could do a lower tier plan and still get everything I need? Downgrade. Or if it does not spark joy and it doesn't deserve a place in your tech stack, you can cancel it. So go through, and for the conclusion, I don't have a formula for you, okay? And this is coming from someone who, like, I'm the queen of Excel spreadsheets. I have 2 degrees in math. If there could be a formula, I would have written the formula and put it in the spreadsheet for you, because that's my jam. But there is no formula, because this is a gut check, okay? These questions leading up to the end here, by the time you're done with these questions, you're probably going to know in your gut if this belongs in your tech stack or not. So just check your gut as you're going through and answering these questions. And then what happens when you've filled this in? Then you can go through column N and take a look at what you said for everything. If there's something you love, then love it. Don't worry about the cost that you're spending, because you've concluded it is worth that to you. Don't worry that, like, oh, I'm spending too much on tech tools, because define too much. Because if things are adding enough value to you that it's worth it, then it's worth it. If it's worth it, it's worth it. And so those are the ones you can keep boldly. There are other ones where you're going to recommit. And so I want you to make a list of, like, okay, what are some of the things that I want to learn? And I need to recommit to making use of it or learning how to make better use of it. If I'm going to replace it with what? Is it because I have another existing tool that can kind of fill the same gap in my business? Or do I need to start looking around and finding something that's going to better suit my needs? If you said you're going to downgrade it, go ahead and do that right now. Log in, see what your options are for downgrading your plan, so that in the next billing cycle, at least, you can have that lower price point. Or cancel it. If you decide I don't need it, I don't need this kind of tool at all, I don't even need to replace it, then it's time to ditch it. And again, do that even with free tools. They don't need to be cluttering up your tech stack if they're not really serving you, and you can really align your needs with the right tools for you. So create your to-do list and get to work on cleaning up your tech stack. And here's one final question. Is there something missing from this list? Think through your business, and are there things that feel very repetitive or boring, or just are parts of your job you don't love that you could outsource to technology? And maybe you never have before, but maybe it's time to start looking into that and thinking about that, because there's probably a great solution out there for you. So add that to the list too, and think about what are some things where I need to ask around. And of course, I invite you to see how my program, Sparkhub, can help you set up and run connecting events in less than 5 minutes per event. Really, it's more like 90 seconds. Sparkhub is an event management powerhouse. It handles the creation of a customized sign-up page for your event, where people sign up. They get to see a party page that's also been customized without any work from you. They get enrolled automatically in your texting plan through an optional integration with Project Broadcast. You have a host portal for your host to be able to see all the info and details and to-dos that they need to know. And you have ways to just keep your guest list and your checklist all organized under one roof for any kind of event that you run. And there isn't any reason not to start a free trial of Sparkhub to see if it's the right fit for you. And I fully expect you to add Sparkhub to your spreadsheet and run through those questions. Hold me to that standard too, because I do believe that it can accomplish at least one of the following: helping you earn more money, save time, take control over your time, or find more joy in your business. Our goal is to provide you so much value that it is a no-brainer to use Sparkhub in your business, because it can bring more efficiency and connection to your events. So please go ahead and check out sparkhub.app/demo to see a full demo of how it works. And I also want to hear from you in the comments below. So tell me, what did this audit reveal for you? What are some of the tools that you use and that you absolutely love? They fill in that love it category. Maybe some tools that you're going to recommit to. Or what would you add to the audit? What would you add to the list as other considerations when you are trying to evaluate whether something is worth it to use? Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope this video gets you off to a really great fresh start with your tech stack, and I'll see you in my demo.